that I won't let you see Vrindavan. It's not cheap. Unless you are pure, your desires for me, it'll be hidden. And then you realize it's not cheap, it's hidden behind my material desire. And I have to purify this desire to get that prize of seeing Vrindavan, or the taste for the holy name, or a taste for hearing chanting, or any of these things. So it's good, isn't it? So yes, we wheel you in. Yeah, come, take prasadam. Here's the holy name. Mercy, mercy. Just give it to everybody. But you want to cultivate that mercy and get enough that you can become a lover of Krishna. There's a price to pay. You're going to have to work it out. Not, you can't just sit back and, like some devotees would think, well, I'll just be with Prabhupada and I'll just become Krishna conscious. Prabhupada said, I was with my guru 4 or 5 times, that's all. So many of my godbrothers were with him constantly. So, it's not that just by being there I'll become Krishna conscious. It's not, we always have to make that effort. So Krishna will never make it easy. Even it's easier, obviously, if you're in the presence of a pure devotee. But it's not easier if you don't take advantage of it. And Shastra says sometimes it's better to be at a distance. That way you can't commit offense. Get too close, you have opportunity to commit offense. Yes? I was just reading Jamuna's book, and she was with Prabhupada up till like 1974, 75, and then she left Vrindavan, went to America. From that point, she was separated. And she said, I felt that Prabhupada was now preparing me so I would be able to make it when he left, because he only left 2 years later. So I was now learning to serve in separation so that when he was gone, I would be strong. So, it's never easy. Never easy unless you're Krishna conscious. And we'll all one day experience separation from our spiritual master. That's not easy. Believe me, it's not easy. But when you get it right, you'll feel even closer when he's gone. Or hopefully one day when she's gone. You'll feel a closeness in separation, a sweetness in service. The Prabhupada said, we're together by service. So I never felt separated from my guru, always together by service. And then even you achieve the stage of bhava, still it's not pure. You have to go further. So you have to be trained up. And even you achieve prema, you'll still be trained up in your service. And that love will continually increase, and you'll be trained forever how to love Krishna. So this process that we're doing now of learning to love Krishna, that goes on forever. We'll always be trained to learn how to love him even more. And the more we do, the more mercy we'll get, the more love we'll experience, the more he'll give. Because Krishna is willing to give as much love as we're ready to take. So if we're not getting it, it means we're not ready for it. That's all. We can't blame anybody. It's just we don't want it enough, or we're not practicing enough to qualify ourselves to get it. So, the idea is like I'm a vessel. Like sometimes you hear poetry. I'm a vessel, drop your love in the vessel. Let me become a bigger vessel so I can hold more love. It's a nice meditation, how I can become a bigger vessel to hold more of Krishna's love. Right? So, is that okay? Any questions or comments? That'd be a nice song, right? A vessel for your love. Yes?
Talking yesterday evening about how sometimes we can
most Krishna's God and all the emotions that he feels in this Lila, we can mark that all the place. This is just all God acting. Yes. In the same way, the principal saint was to Sri Prabhupada. It's his preaching efforts and everything that we saw. He was a pure devotee. Everything was arranged by Krishna, so therefore we can minimize. Yes. Yeah, that's true. And also, Prabhupada always presented himself as an ordinary person because he wanted to teach that from the platform of bondage, Nitya Baddha, you could become Nitya Siddha. And once you become Nitya Siddha, then you're clean, you're healthy. So he always he would talk as if he were a conditioned soul, just like everyone else. And your point is well taken. If we emphasize too much the empowered side in the wrong way, then we'll misunderstand. Why was Prabhupada empowered? He was empowered because he was 100% surrendered to his Guru Maharaj. And amongst all his God brothers, he was the most surrendered. Therefore, he got the most power. That's the reason. So that's the reason we should focus on it. And as an example, if you want to be empowered, then you have to do the same thing. You see, imagine you have a car, battery-operated car, and you turn it right and it goes left, and you turn it straight and it goes right. It's kind of frustrating, isn't it? But don't you think some disciples are like that? The Guru turns you right and you go straight. He turns you left and you go right. Right? So Prabhupada was that car that was remotely controlled by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta. There was no left, right, center, up, down. It was just whatever he said, he did. And that's how he got the power. Because then Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda could fully embody their power in him. Because he had no independent desire or will. And that's how we understand the empowerment of Prabhupada. And that's the example we should follow. And if we're like that, we get empowered also. Like one of Prabhupada's godbrothers said, he said, actually, this order to go to the West, it was open to all of us. It was not just for Prabhupada, it was for everyone. And he said that Srila Bhaktisiddhanta had asked me to go to the West, but he said, I didn't feel I could deal with those people. It was not my inclination. So he was the one who glorified Prabhupada in saying that Prabhupada didn't say, well, it's not my inclination, or I'm too old, or it's going to be too difficult, or what about the food? I don't have enough money. He didn't have any reasons not to go. I mean, you could say he had reasons not to go, but he didn't. In his consciousness, there was only the order of his Guru. So this godbrother admitted, myself, I couldn't do it because of personal considerations. But Swami Maharaj, as they called him, he had no personal consideration. Therefore, he was the one who could be empowered to do it amongst all of us. There was nothing there. So I think that's a lesson we should learn. That you want to be empowered, there should be nothing there. There's no resistance. I mean, of course, we're conditioned souls, so maybe we can't do everything our spiritual master wants us to do perfectly. But the principle is there, that that's the goal. Yes?
But can someone say that because Prabhupada's nature was to preach, that is why he did that?
You could say that, but I think, but that was the order of his spiritual master to do that. So you could also say it became his nature because that was what his spiritual master ordered him to do. Just like we have many devotees that love to distribute books, that probably is not their nature, but it became their nature because that's what Prabhupada wanted them to do. And, I mean, you could also say that's Prabhupada's nature. But my personal sense of it, my gut feeling was Prabhupada's level of compassion was driving him. So his desire to preach, although certainly he relished it, had a more fundamental motive to it, which was to share it. Otherwise, why would he still be translating books to the last days of his life? I think it was coming more from compassion than from a natural attraction.
Like the other orders also, they were, like some of them were very excited.
Very exalted.
So if some devotee is very excited, then compassion also there within them. But in Prabhupada's case, he took it further.
Yeah, different degrees of compassion. And, like we're saying, even on the stage of bhava, there's some impurity. The stage of asakti or ruchi, every stage there's some impurity. So the eternal conditioning of the soul is to be concerned about our happiness, our comfort, and so on. And, to go to the West at the age of 69, and you don't know how you're going to live there, and, you're giving up, in theory, all comforts of home. Even as a sannyasi today in ISKCON, it's obviously much more comfortable when you travel the world. You stay at many nice homes and so forth. But you don't always, and you don't know who's going to cook your food, and you don't know where you're going to stay. And you don't know if you're going to sleep on the floor, in a king-size bed, a hard bed, a soft bed, a cold house, a warm. You don't know. I was once doing a workshop in Delhi. It was like, in the 40s. And, I went to take rest, and all the electricity went on. Just, laying there sweating, So it's preaching, traveling means you have to be somewhat renounced and willing to just adapt to anything. And so, you may confine your compassion and say, well, my compassion has a limit. It's limited to the borders of India or the borders of this state or this city. So Prabhupada's compassion was, it was equivalent to the compassion of his spiritual master and his grand spiritual master who wanted this. And somehow his godbrothers didn't get it as deeply. They're compassionate, they're giving their compassion out in India, but they didn't get it to the degree that Prabhupada got it. And it obviously required a lot of compassion and self-sacrifice. And we're happy Prabhupada made that sacrifice. And then Prabhupada encouraged us to make that same sacrifice. And really, the success, at least I can say this from my own experience, the compassion and the intensity that Prabhupada had, it rubbed off on all of us. So even very young devotees were making huge sacrifices to spread Krishna consciousness. Traveling, living austerely, taking showers in the middle of the winter, at a gas station at 4 a.m., doing amazing things because they were infected by Prabhupada's compassion and Prabhupada's willingness to sacrifice personal comforts. And that's what empowered us. And so we did great austerities. Not because we were austere, but because Prabhupada was austere. And so we were just following that example. Is that okay? Like I've experienced many trying situations in ISKCON. And no matter how trying they were never as trying as what Prabhupada went through. One time I was going through a trying situation. Trying situations are like you have the work of, you have to do what 20 men can do, and you only have 10, and 5 of them are half crazy, don't do what they're told, and you're trying to get this done. Difficult things like that. So I was once going through a difficult situation like, you're in a bad neighborhood and things are being stolen, your car is being broken into. They won't even insure your car anymore because it's been broken into so many times. Like that. Just like everywhere you turn, you hit a dead end. I've been in situations like that. But in those difficult situations, sometimes the only solace was to read Prabhupada Lila Amrita, because then I realized that what Prabhupada went through was infinitely more difficult than what I was going through. And that's what kept me going. So that's what I say. Prabhupada was pushing us to do austerity because just by his example, he was doing it. So we did it. So you needed someone in Prabhupada's level of compassion to get people like us up and running to the level we had to be running to spread this movement. Otherwise, if Prabhupada were just, not preaching about preaching so much and just traveling, and said, well, let's all go together and just have fun, and we'll have a campfire and do kirtan and roast vegetarian marshmallows. And that's Krishna consciousness. That's all it was. It wouldn't be what it is today. But he was, right from the beginning, even before I moved in the temple, I was going on Harinam Sankirtan. And the day I moved in, that was the service. Here's your magazines, go sell them. The day I moved in. So Sankirtan was in the forefront. Okay? So we can stop here. Everyone all right? We can offer a candle to Damodara. Okay? Srila Prabhupada ki jai, go Premanandi, Hari Hari.